This sounds like an extra ring of hell. If Dante was into the exercise craze, he probably would have made, the 5th ring where you got to work and run at the same time.
Absolutely.
But these came about 5 years ago as people were worried that they were kind of sedentary, stuck at their desk all day. So someone had the bright idea, well, why don't you combine a relatively slow-moving treadmill while you're typing as you're standing.
Slow-moving being the operative
That's
two
right.
words.
You're not challenging Usain Bolt on a race on these things.
We're not at like 7.0 when we're running.
Most of them at the very high end will go 4 miles an hour, but a lot of people are going 1 to 2 miles an hour. And the Mayo Clinic came out with a study that said if you use these things, you could burn up to 150 calories an hour. And over eight hours, that's a pretty significant chunk of time. If you're working an 8-hour day, some employers who've used these things have said it actually increases productivity because it's very hard to slough off in your chair and do nothing when you're walking 2 miles an hour. That actually increases your productivity.
Now you and I are sitting here smiling at this and joking a little bit, but it really isn't a joke. We've had a lot of health stories on this show recently talking about the severe effects on your body and your mental state of just being too sedentary. And doctors recommend people getting up and walking around the office. I mean, we are sitting, we have our laptops, we're laying, we're lounging. So there really is a real health benefit to this. I'm wondering what, in terms of the number of sales of these treadmills, have they seen an increase in the last couple of years?
Well, some of the folks we talked to have said sales really have doubled in the past year. And you also see even bloggers who are trying to build their own things. A lot of these treadmill desks will cost anywhere from $1,000 to $4,000 on the really high end. But folks we've seen on blogs have built these things for $40, essentially a piece of plywood and foam, and boom, and they have their own treadmill to begin with. So boom, they have a desk.
They're just building the desk part on an old treadmill, which you could do.
That's right. But a lot of these ones that are upwards of anywhere from $500, like I said, all the way up to the high end of $4,000 have actually ergonomically correct positioning. So when you're actually using the desk part, your wrists are in the right place and you're not extraining yourself on these things. And it's kind of amusing. One of my colleagues tried one of these out and tried typing an email while she was walking on the treadmill. Well, it turned out that most of her left-handed keys were 1 too high and the other one was 1 too far to the right. But the folks who've used it say it takes a few days to get used to, but after several bad emails and perhaps misappropriated expense accounts, it works. Eventually it works.
That sounds like a good excuse when the company comes after you.
That's right.
Oh, I was on my treadmill at the desk.
At the same time.
I actually know a guy who is writing a book while being on one of these treadmills. He's writing his entire book doing this, and he lost a lot of weight doing it. So, that should be out, and it's going to be in pop culture. Just in terms of these sort of fads, I mean, you all write a lot about these things and smart money. What do you predict? Handicap this trend for us. Do you think it has legs, staying power?
Legs, pun intended. I actually think there'll probably be a small niche for these things as people try to combine their busy work schedules because they can't make time for an hour or two of exercise a day. The average American only spends 19 minutes exercising a day. So even if you can double that on a treadmill, then you're doing yourself good. But I don't see offices around the country mandating these things like, okay, get rid of your aileron chairs, you're going to be working on a treadmill now.
Let's start a movement here at News Corp to get that done.
There's something very Kafka-esque about the whole idea of a treadmill desk, but it does work for some people, and some people do appreciate it.